What's going on, everybody? This is Nuff Said, the Nuff Said podcast, episode 12, week 12 of doing this thing. Really happy about it. My name is Adam Dickens. That is Trey Adams. Trey, say what's up.
What's going on, everybody?
Gang, gang. First, we want to uh, talk about what we're gonna go over. We're gonna talk about Team USA basketball for a little bit. That's the only thing that's happening in the NBA world. We're gonna do some this or that NFL quarterback edition. Then we're gonna run and talk about the AFC West and pretty much talk about what team we would put first to last, who's the best, who's the worst, and update you guys on how that team had an offseason. With that being said, cue the intro, boys. All right, we are back. First up, we just want to tell you guys, make sure you follow us on social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or X, whatever the fuck they're calling it nowadays, because Elon must be on his shit. Follow us on all that stuff. We're posting clips regularly. We took a little break from it just because I had a little bit of burnout, but we are back. And like I said, just follow us on social media. And yeah, besides that, Trey, you got any message for the people?
Yeah, like, dislike, comment, everything. We need the feedback. We want to make this show a fun and good experience for all who watch, who come to this, who enjoy the reels. And again, we just want your feedback, as much feedback as possible. Honest feedback is always acceptable. That's the only shit that's acceptable. We don't want bull. If it's not what you really want to say, don't say it at all. But we do appreciate it and keep it coming.
Absolutely, absolutely. We love interacting with the people. That's why the show. This is who the show is for the people, by the people. And yeah. So with that being said, uh, first off, thanks to Sonorous Wave for creating our intro song. We love y'all. Bring the energy. Check them out on their website, Instagram page if you get a chance. Sonorous Wave. Yes, sir. I'll lead into the first subject, and I'll go from there with Trey Young. Okay, never mind. I'll do it. First off, we're gonna talk about Team USA basketball. It's been a little bit of drama with those guys. First subject is Trey Young not being on Team USA at all, not even a backup. Um, he's saying that he's interested. Team USA is like, not today, pretty much. How do you feel about that, Trey?
Um, well, it was also I would like to throw in there. They said it was also could have been because of who he's with, sponsor wise. Obviously, he's with Adidas, and to my knowledge, there's only two other players with Adidas that's on the roster, being Anthony Edwards and Kessler from Utah. Um, Everybody else is either a free agent or they're with Nike. Um, and Austin Reeves is with whatever the hell he's with. I don't even remember that brand. Um, but yeah, so that was also a debate as well of why he could have been excluded from Team USA. But just in general, I knowing how Team USA kind of works in the sense of they want um, players that are committed to them. They want players that are devoted to working on their craft. And again, it's not just a one time thing for them. Like when they send you an invitation, it's a build up. It's not something that they just do in 1 year and they just say, okay, we want you immediately. Like they've been working with players. They have a camp in the summer when it's not necessarily FIBA Worlds or Olympic time. And he hasn't trained with them at all. So for him to just think that randomly he'll be selected or invited, it's just like, who the fuck you think you are? Let alone you little. Your style of play is not really uh team oriented, I would say. But again, people they are NBA players. They can adapt. They can play with other superstars. So that I wouldn't really say is the biggest thing. I just think they don't feel like he can fit their team in the sense of his size and how he plays in a way.
I absolutely agree with you. I think you're playing international basketball at the end of the day, and as growing as that has been at an exponential rate, man, you're going against Europeans that are just way bigger than Trey Young, and he's great offensively, but clearly he's just not a balanced type of player. He's just not. So I do think they think defensively he would be a weakness. I mean, you're talking the same Team USA that chose chose Kirk Howard over Gilbert Arenas. Like, let's be honest. Like, this is the type of players that they go after. I'm still a little bit confused on the shoe thing because, I mean, it's been plenty of players in the past that haven't wore Nikes, or I really don't understand that unless he was just adamant on wearing his Adidas or his signature shoe. Um, he's got some pretty decent basketball shoes. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know. I really don't understand the. I get if you have Austin. I get from the outside you see Austin Reeves on Team USA starting, and then you see Trey Young not even on the team like that.
He ain't starting.
Yes, he is, bro.
No,
Yes,
he
he
is
is.
not. He
Yes,
did
he
not
is.
start that Puerto Rico game. No, he did not.
But these are just fucking practice games. They're not even in the shit, right?
He ain't starting.
Bruh, I'm telling you, I heard he was starting. Hold on, let me look it
He
up real
ain't.
fast.
He ain't starting. Their starting
Who?
lineup is Brandon Ingram, Jalen Brunson. Um, yeah, it's not Austin Reeves. I'm trying to think who else. Who's their bigs? Damn it, Jim. But it's not. It's not him. He's not starting.
You got
He
Anthony
he.
Edwards. You got Mikael Bridges. Hold on. You
Cam
got Jalen
Johnson.
Brunson.
Uh
Yeah.
huh.
Pablo
Cam.
Benchero.
He ain't starting. But yeah, I just think
Tyrese
he like
Halliburton. He started.
if you look at the roster, you could be like Trey Young fits in with them. I get that, but in the sense of like you said, what they want a culture, and they think in some ways that he will mess up their culture and their identity of what they're trying to establish. Plain and simple. He could take it however he want. Like I said, Gilbert Arenas got cut from that '08 Redeem team, and he was better than like you said some of those players on there in a way scoring wise. So again, it's the culture the thing.
Yeah,
He'll
I
get
mean,
over
one
it.
thing too to be intrigued about is that this is Coach Pop's first year away from team basketball, and you have Coach Kerr, and you have Eric Spoelstra as the I guess not they're not splitting. Who's the Coach Kerr is the main head coach, and then
Mm-hmm.
Spoelstra is the assistant, which is crazy. Which is either way they could both be the head coach. And so I personally I don't think if Greg Popovich was head coach of his team that Trey Young wouldn't be on it. Not I guess you could say he makes a difference in that. But it's just a weird thing going. What I really want to talk about is how Kate Cunningham is leading this select team and busting the USA starting team's ass. That's what I really want to talk about. Because I think it speaks to first off, where are the main superstars not on this fucking Team USA? That's another thing that kind of pisses me off. I mean, you got people like Anthony Edwards, but give us the Kawhis, give us the LeBrons, give us give me the best of the best, not the couple steps down from the best of the best.
The younger bucks, the people that are going to be playing possibly. This isn't the Olympic team. This is the FIBA. Who gives a fuck? It's not the Olympic team. The Olympic team is still going to have Steph on it. They still going to have like
Is it though?
superstars.
Is it?
Yes, he said he's committed to the next Olympics. He's committed already. And this is just FIBA. Who gives a fuck? Like, let these little young bucks play. Let them develop their international ball. And again, some of them will make the roster for the next one, but not a majority of them won't because again,
Yeah.
some of the vets are going to be back for the Olympics. It's just FIBA. So let's not overreact to that.
Nah, I just maybe I'm bored. Maybe I miss NBA basketball. I don't know what it is, man. Like if the real superstars are really going to be in Olympic basketball, I'm super excited about that. If that is the case, but I mean, you know, it's the best
Now,
of the
them getting
best.
their ass kicked to the select team, that's different. Like you do not expect that team that you just named with all those players to get they ass kicked by, like you said, Kate Cunningham and some rookies and some people I never even heard of before. Like that's bullshit. Like they got to get their shit together because if they play Canada, and I know everybody's seen that Canada roster with Jamal Murray and Shea
Yep.
Alexander, Dylan Brooks, man, they will get their ass kicked if they lose into 2, 3 players on a select team. When you play Team Canada and Spain, them motherfuckers still ain't playing. So they better get their shit together.
Yeah, I think this Team USA is still having the same problems that like the Olympic team have a lot of times of a lack of focus. Like
Mm,
you know when Cade's on that team, he on the select team, he's gonna be the focus of the offense is running through him. So far, what I've heard is they're running the offense through the starting team is obviously running through Anthony Edwards, um, and somewhat through Tyrese Halliburton. So I mean, but there's a clear lack of focus because all those players are all somewhat on the same level. Whereas
mm,
K, we know, is better than the rest of the select team. So I think
mm.
it's more of a select focus type of thing. Pretty much there's no alpha. And until you get the alpha, which I mean it will come with through time and through practice and whoever really like puts their foot in the ground and says I'm running this shit. Until that happens, you're not gonna have, you know, you're gonna everybody's too nice to who the fuck is gonna lead this shit. Everybody's too nice to go about it.
Got you.
You know what I mean? With that being said, not in really, it's not a lot of NBA topics coming up. But I figured that we could play a little this or that. Who would you take? Edition of NFL quarterbacks. And with that being said, um, let's get this thing started. All right. These matchups were meant to be pretty tight. So it's not, there's no true winners, but we can always plead our case. Um, First up, we have Brock Purdy versus Tua Tagovailoa. Who would you want? The question is, who would you want today? Obviously, with Brock Purdy, you just ignore the whole arm recovery aspect. Just act like it. He is who he was last year.
If everybody's 100% healthy, who would you take right now?
Yes, pretty much is the case.
And that first one, I'm taking Brock. All right, Purdy, hands down. It's not even a debate. Tua is no. I'm not taking Tua. Just Brock Purdy. You?
I'm gonna take Tua. Just I feel like Brock. Yes, he did a great job last year. I also think that anybody who's in that San Francisco system, whoever's at quarterback, like if Jimmy G can look like a superstar in that offense, anybody can. I think Brock Purdy. I think the offense does a good job, especially with it being run heavy. And it's very dependent on the playmakers to make the move after the catch. Even though, again, Purdy was making some good plays last year, and you know, I'm
So
telling you
anybody
that
could go 6-0 with that offense is what I'm hearing. Anybody can do it.
if you play perfectly into that system, like if you go by the book, which he did last year, yes,
Come on, come on. Give
it
the
had
man
Matt
some
Ryan.
credit.
Whoa,
Come
first off, that offense
on.
had Matt Ryan winning MVPs and going to the Super Bowl. It hid a lot of it hides a lot of imperfections if you really play into that system. It benefits the running backs in that way. It benefits it hides all weaknesses, which why I'm saying the Brock he's good, but he ain't as good as what it was making him seem like. That's all I'm saying. And so
Don't
I would
ignore
take
the
Tua, even
stats.
though I'm not the biggest guy, Tua fan. But I think that Tua showed what he could do last year before he started getting the concussions. Obviously, he's got some problems throwing ducks sometimes. But again, you give him some good weapons, and you just let him do his thing, and that's what he did
Yeah,
last
the
year.
two fastest in the league. Next.
Facts. Speaking of that, Jalen Waddle had a injury in today's practice. They say it's not that serious, so he should be good. Next, this or that, Russell Wilson versus Deshaun Watson. I think is a great this or that question. First off, because to give some reference, if you can't tell today, that Trey is a Broncos fan, but he also is picking Deshaun Watson to have a bounce back year this year. So this is a
Mm.
tight, hard matchup for my co-host. Just give a reference.
If you had to say again, we're going right now. I will go to Sean Watson. And I say that just because of obviously he's younger. And I feel like he clearly has more to prove than Russell. Russell right now, if he retired, he's a Hall of Famer. Um, and Deshaun is still working towards that. I mean, he was before all the crap. He was good. I still think he still has it in him. So I would go Deshaun.
I agree. We were talking Deshaun Watson before his situation came out that we were putting him in the same air in the same category as Patrick Mahomes, um, and so and offensively consistent the consistent offensive side Russell Wilson had struggles with, where like he would have some games with 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns like that, and then he would have like 2 or 3 0 touchdown games or 1 touchdown games, and just struggle offensively a lot. So I think I'm gonna go with the more consistent before Deshaun Watson situation, and I would want him versus Russell Wilson. But no knock on Russell Wilson. Russell's still that guy. I will talk a little bit more about him today when we go over the AFC North. Correct? Did I say that right? AFC North. It
No,
is
West, you
West.
jack.
Whatever. Who gives a fuck?
We do have somebody in the comments that said Leonard Davis. He said Tua is injured prone. His skill set is great, no doubt, but because of his high possibility of getting injured, he becomes a liability. So I would assume Leonard would take Tua over. Well, no, he would take Purdy over Tua as well.
Yeah,
Huh.
I definitely get that. The concussions are a big issue because let's just say Tua does get hurt. I was excluding injuries, but I understand
Yeah,
what you
I
mean.
get that. Yeah.
If Tua gets another concussion, bro, he's out for 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Like, no, seriously, no, he is out that long
It,
because
it's
his
it has
concussions
to
from
be.
last
Yeah.
season. Like,
Yeah.
it's a big risk on the Dolphins. I forgot who's the backup quarterback in Miami, but either way, it's somebody new. They replaced him with
Mike
somebody.
White.
Is it?
Yeah. Where did he
Okay,
go?
hold on.
I think it's Mike White.
Backup QB Brissett, Jacoby Brissett, and
Is it?
Matt Moore, but Matt Moore is like
Who the hell was
last.
I'm thinking?
Am I tripping? No. I lied. What the fuck?
It's gonna be Mike White, man.
Jacoby's in with the Commanders. Why is this telling me wrong?
Yeah, I don't know who your source is, but you need to fire them. It's Mike White, dog. Mhm.
I mean,
Listen,
it's
some things,
fucking
if
Google.
listen,
I
if
can't fire
if
Google.
it,
I
it
literally work
flows
for
off the
Google.
tongue so good that it's just like that's how I know it's real. Like they should just
Well,
hire me. They should
shut your
just
ass.
sports
Hold
center should
on.
just hire me.
Yeah, Mike White and Skylar Thompson that nobody cares about. Yeah, Mike White.
Like I said, Mike White.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Mike White played at some point this season. But either way, just something to think about. So yes, what was the person's name?
Number three.
What? No, the person of the commenter. The name of the
Oh,
commenter.
Leonard Davis.
Yes, Leonard Davis. Yes, you do have a point when it comes to concussions. In this question framing, I was excluding injuries, but you are absolutely right. Next, this or that. Matt Stafford versus Geno Smith, who Geno Smith is coming off a hot season, and Stafford is coming off of a rough season injury riddled season. But go ahead.
Matthew Stafford. I'm not even having this debate about fucking Geno Smith. This guy was literally a backup for more than half of his career, and now he has one decent season because of the system, literally because of the system. And it's like, oh my God, he's great. He's a Pro Bowler and all this extra shit. If the world don't realize that this man was a nobody and is still a nobody, then they need to chill out. But Matthew Stafford.
So, well, I'm curious on this because I feel like you're bringing up systems when it's convenient because you didn't bring it up when it came to Purdy, but you do bring it up when it comes to Geno Smith, who both had 1 year breakout. Obviously Purdy was a rookie.
Purdy was undefeated. I don't think you're minimizing the fact that he didn't lose a game until he got injured. Like the dude was balling.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
So I mean, you can't say that's all the system. He had to still go out there and make these throws. He still had to do X, Y, Z. I don't think that's all the system. Geno, on the other hand, we know what he was capable of before. We've seen him in numerous teams, and he could not get the job done. Then he gets to a system where it's a run-heavy offense, and again, it's more of a scramble situation. We saw that with Russell. It's more of backyard bullshit football, and it kind of fits him a little bit, and it
But
works
let's
for him.
not act like Brock Purdy was in college fucking ripping fucking tutties all day. All right, let's not act like that was the case either. So both can apply to both situations if we're being fair and honest. Now, Geno, I'm not sure what quarterback friendly system that they're running over there with the Seahawks. So don't get me wrong. I will still take Matt Stafford because I have a soft spot for Matt Stafford. And Geno, I'm expecting a low year this year. I mean, he started out nice last year, and they kind of got humbled in the later half of the season. But there are two. This is another point: is Matt Stafford is low on weapons when it's pretty much just him and fucking what's his name? Shit, I'm tripping. Huh?
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp. It's just him and Cooper Kupp. And you have Geno Smith and like his fucking arsenal of fucking weapons with Najigba. You got DK Metcalf and you got Lockett. It's like bro's got everything you could ask for as a quarterback. So they're in totally different situations. But I thought it was a very good disregard.
Leonard said again, for the second one, he said I would like to have I would pick Russ, to be honest. We haven't seen him display the old Deshaun yet, so we don't know if he could be the man he used to be.
Oh, say it again. Or just repeat
he picked Russ over Deshaun.
Because no, I'm saying repeat the reason.
We haven't seen him display the old Deshaun yet, so we don't know if he could be the same man he used to be.
We could say the same thing for Russell Wilson. We haven't seen him display the old Russell Wilson, the Seahawks Russell Wilson. So that's what my comeback would be in that question.
And then he said Matthew Stafford, nothing else to start. No, nothing else to be said. Nobody fucks with Geno. Nobody.
Right. I know.
Nobody fucks with Geno.
I do feel bad for that guy, man, because that locker room really loves him. I mean, I still went Stafford. I just thought it was a good this or that. So I agree with Kirk Cousins versus Lamar Jackson in this or that.
I told you not to do this one. Lamar Jackson is nothing. I have no words. Lamar Jackson.
I thought this was a good this or that because both of them have lacked playoff success, but they tend to obviously do good in the regular season. Both pretty damn consistent quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins consistently throwing for 4,000 yards. What do we got? Anything? No, nothing.
Wait, what'd you say?
Oh, I thought you were about to read another comment off. I was waiting.
Oh, he said no. He said yeah. Nobody cares about Geno. So like,
yeah. So we got Kirk Cousins and we got Lamar Jackson. I'm assuming you would take Lamar Jackson. I'll let you elaborate.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just if again we both know. Wait, who was the first one? I'm confused. My bad. You said Lamar twice. That's
what. Kirk Cousins and Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, yes. Obviously, it's just more of an option. Again, they're both regular season quarterbacks, but Lamar in the playoffs, he can do something. He's more of a threat than Kirk Cousins, who's just no. Lamar Jackson.
I
Kirk Cousins is a choke artist.
no, I'm big on Lamar. I feel like I brought this up too because in the past when I've mentioned Lamar, you tend to be down on him because I mean not just because you hate Ravens, but just period. And I feel like you're down on Kirk Cousins too. So I'm like, where this is a good exercise to kind of fill out where we're at too with different players because you're down on both these players. You don't really fuck with either one. Lamar, I'm looking to have a great year this year. I don't think Kirk Cousins can do better than what he did last year. I don't see him having a better year. And so regression, I think, has to come at some point for him. But obviously, Lamar, I've got him having maybe another MVP type of year this year. So, of course, I'll take Lamar. But a lot of people are down on him just because he's not the true passer that everybody wants him to be. Next, we have another Kirk Cousins one. We have Dak Prescott versus Kirk Cousins as another one, which I think are very vanilla type quarterbacks to really see. This make you think. This is the whole point of this. This is why I thought it was good. What do you got?
It's not making me think. Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, and I say Dak because again, the simple fact he can make. They both choke artists in the playoffs. They both are, but I would rather have the ball in Dak's hand than I would in Kirk Cousins. So I would say Dak.
Okay, so let's take this step further. Dak or Lamar Jackson? Keep this in mind because you're going to be doing your quarterback rankings this week. So this is very important questions.
Lamar.
Lamar. Okay, I'll tell you
Lamar.
where I had them in my rankings. I had, which is funny, I had Lamar was up there for me. I won't tell you where, but he was way up there. He was on top of both of them. I had Dak and Kurt right beside each other. Dak was on top. So
Okay.
I won't tell you the numbers, but again, I would like to see Dak have a bounce back year, or not bounce back because he had a good year last year, but another good year this year. Just kind of just shut up the haters because a lot of people are down on him. It's been a big thing about him throwing picks in practice and him having a really good year last year when it came to right. It's some bad picks you've been seeing in practice.
Completely like he's just throwing it like damn near away, and it's just like popping up in Diggs' hands over and over and over.
Fucking Diggs is having a fucking MVP year in fucking training camp. You know what I'm saying?
Like what the hell?
His confidence is out the fucking roof right now.
Leonard said, "I agree with you, Adam. This may be an MVP year for Lamar. I could see that. I could see it.
It's if he can avoid injury, I'm right there on Lamar, man. I just don't see. He's got the weapons he needs in Zay Jones. He's got Odell this year. Zay Jones, he was right underneath Najigba when it came to wide receivers in the draft for me. So now if he has a bad year, I'd be kind of out. But go ahead.
You really think Lamar was hurt last year? I don't think he was hurt. I think that was him trying to show that y'all motherfuckers need me. Yeah, I think that was his point of saying, this is what y'all got a small sample size of what I did when I was playing. We was winning. We was above the division. We was top the division. Then when I was injured, y'all saw y'all needed me, and then all hell broke loose. I think that was a strategic move by him to say to up his money in his contract. I think that's what that was. Honestly, I don't think he was injured.
I mean, I remember talking about Lamar he was my to start the season MVP pick. Like those first 4, maybe 6 games or whatever, he was going off. Like Brad, 3 touchdowns every game, just ripping it, and all of a sudden he got hurt. He was taken out. I mean, it would be very smart negotiating skills on his part. And he pulled it off, and it worked, even though they still were, being hesitant about paying him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he has had a hard time with quote unquote injuries in the last 3 years, where he didn't when he first came into the league. So that I still think it's something. And
All right, I get you.
but if he can survive an MVP level year, if he has a full year, I would like to see that. So that's kind of where I'm at. With that being said, make sure you guys come check us out every Thursday at 9 o'clock. We stream on Kick and YouTube Live. Shout out to Leonard for being active and commenting and adding an extra element to the show that we really like to see. Just like him, come check us out on stream, 9 o'clock on Thursdays. I'm in the middle of moving, so that's probably going to end up changing, and I'm changing jobs and stuff like that. So we'll just keep you guys updated. As soon as we know, we'll let you guys know as far as the stream schedule. With that being said, we're going to play a commercial from our sponsor, DREADSOCK. They're a great company. If you have a protective hairstyle or locks, make sure you check them out. Keep lint out of your hair, and just keep those locks nice and healthy. So with that being said, cue the commercial. Go. All right, for the streaming audience, we are back. We are going to be talking about the AFC West big time. We only got one more conference. We got one more division to go on about after this week. For future reference, everybody, we are going to be trying to review Hard Knocks and the Johnny Manziel documentary that just came out. As soon as we get a chance to watch it, we will be discussing that. The Johnny Manziel documentary was some good stuff, real good stuff. I don't know. I was shocked on a couple of things.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I like Johnny Manziel when he got drafted and everything. I was a fan of his, so I'm curious to see how that plays out, and just to see if it's something I didn't know, if it changes my opinion about how I felt about him, etc. I'm curious, so looking forward to it.
When you do get a chance to watch it, I have watched it. Go really to open your eyes. Just peek who they let talk on the documentary and who they didn't let talk on the documentary. I think it was pretty fascinating. We can talk about it a little bit now. So like the little meme came out, and it was a portion. I'm sure you saw it anyways, where it came out and pretty much the GM had went to his agent and go ahead.
I didn't watch it. What are you doing?
Huh?
I didn't watch it. What are you doing?
This shit's all on social media anyways. This is one part.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Anyways, it was pretty fascinating that pretty much when he went to the Cleveland Browns, the Browns GM went to his agent, pretty much like he's not watching tape like at all, like, and then Johnny was like, yeah, I didn't watch any fucking tape like the whole fucking time I was there. And of course it made me think about Jamarcus Russell and how they both fucking flopped and sucked. And I thought it was pretty fascinating. I thought you had saw that because it was all over social media.
I did see that.
What the fuck, asshole? You know what I mean? God damn. What do you think about it? Just when you saw it, just first reaction.
I'm not to say a quarterback shouldn't watch film, but it's like, again, we saw that. We already knew he didn't watch film, or he wasn't the most like studious guy when it came to the game and all that. He just went out there and played backyard football. Who gives a fuck? But he was still good at it, so that didn't care for me. or didn't mean anything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Watching the documentary and just that part to me, he it just comes off as like Baker Mayfield. Like I
Mm-hmm.
see very a lot of similarities between both of them in personality and stature. Obviously, they played a very similar offense in college, um, and
Point exactly.
that's who it made me think of just right off the bat. Um, but yeah, if you want to, we can go right into the AFC West. I'll let you take the reins.
AFC West. This division is, I feel like, it's on the come up. I feel like now rather, this division, and why I feel like we did the divisions based off of their rankings and where we feel like the most teams is pretty much the better divisions last. So we obviously did the AFC West because we feel like they're a top three division in the league. But starting off, number four, obviously I'm going with the Raiders. Out of all the quarterbacks they in this division, Jimmy G's the worst one. Let alone they team just defensively, they suck ass. Um, and the only bright side on offense is Devontae Adams. Josh Jacobs, they don't even know if he's gonna be there or not. But obviously he did lead the league in rushing yards last year. Not touchdowns, just yards. Um, but again, you don't know if he's going to be there long term or in general this year how that's going to impact him. So in general, I think Jimmy G's going to have a okay sub year. I just think their defense is so suspect, and they only have one person and Max Crosby. Everybody else is like either suspect, injured prone, or just young as hell and have no experience. So I got them going fourth, and they're the worst in the division, hands down.
I also have them as fourth, and I agree with just about everything you said. Uh, but my biggest knock on the Raiders is just the hiring. Well, they didn't hire him this year, but a couple years ago, Josh McDaniels will be the reason why the Raiders are gonna shit the bed this year. They're the reason why he's the reason why they sucked last year. He's gonna be the end all be all when it comes to the Raiders. He has this thing where he love. I've mentioned on this podcast before. He loves hiring people that he's coached before. You know, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much, Raiders are like the second chance New England Patriots, essentially. Everybody that he wants for. There's a big rumor that I really believe that pretty much he was trying to screw over Derek Carr last year because he didn't. That's not his quarterback that he wanted. I honestly believe it. Anybody that's not his players, he doesn't really want. And I, that's a stupid mindset to have as a head coach. You should either just move out whoever you don't want, or work with what you already have. And if you think that your season was rough for Derek Carr, it's not going to be that much better with Jimmy G this year. You know, I don't think there's a large gap between the two, but it's not going to be an amazing year. There's no way this team goes to the playoffs. Zero chance. I probably see him with maybe 5 wins this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as bad as Josh McDaniels is as a coach, I think Jimmy G is just as bad as a quarterback, and their defense is just as shitty. So there's nothing great about this entire team. Like there's not a bright spot on this team. This is probably one of the teams that I'm the most down on in the NFL. I don't have a good thing to say about them. Not one. Fuck them.
Well, like you said, they're the off-brand Patriot. So at this point, it's just like, yeah, let's just see what we could piece together. I
Oh,
think if they
oh.
have an,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would say if they do have a shitty year, I think they might get rid of Josh McDaniels.
I don't think they can because of what they're paying him. From what I was told, I mean, I could be wrong, but I was told based on what he's getting paid, there's no way they could get rid of him. But you know how that goes when it comes to
Yeah.
finances. There's one semi bright little thing I'll say is I love the tight end that they drafted, not Michael Myers, but Michael Mayer. I had him being an absolute dog tight end coming out of the college. That's the only bright spot I got. And poor guy has Jimmy G as his quarterback, which I think will help out a little bit, just because Jimmy G doesn't have a rocket and he's going to be dependent on his slot receivers and his tight ends for those close up routes. Um, and plus that, anyways, fuck it. Yeah, fuck the Raiders. There's nothing good about it. Plus you, and on top of that, they lost Darren Waller, who I mean, yes, he was having his injury issues, but you lost the top five tight end in the game. There's nothing
Mm-hmm.
good coming your way. I mean, granted, you got the best receiver in the game, but he's on an island by himself. So poor guy. And he's probably getting traded to the Jets anyway,
Oh
halfway
my
through the season.
god.
So fuck it.
Oh my god.
It's probably gonna happen. Do you think he wants to be there? He's probably already playing it, bro. He's probably on Zillow right now trying to find a
Trying
house in fucking
to.
Jersey. You know what I'm saying? So he can be close to the Jets. I'm telling you, right now. Nobody wants to be a damn Raider. So you guys, your number 2 team.
My third team, and this is gonna be a fake shocker to some people. I'm going with the Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers because I really do not like their coaching. I think again, Herbert could have another 4,000 yard season. I think he could have freaking a 30-10 ratio, TD to Into ratio, and I still think they would be like right out on the outside looking in because of how good the AFC is going to be this year. I don't like their coaching. I don't like their game plans. I know they switched up a lot of their coordinator positions this offseason again. And there's no consistency on that end. And I think again, it's just going to mess over the team. I think defensively, their players are injury prone as hell, and they're getting old. Like J.C. Jackson, they gave him that big contract 2 years ago, and the guy can't stay healthy for shit. Um,
Even when he was on the field, he struggled. Even he was in the
exactly,
same system pretty much too, and still struggled in man-to-man coverage, which he was a beast on with the
getting
Patriots.
getting his ass whooped, and they overpaid for him. Like they desperately needed a corner, and they thought he was going to solve their issues. Asante Samuel Jr. is good. I do like him. I do like Derwin James, but that's the only bright side on that in that secondary. Yeah, they do got Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, but again, they really can't really stay on the field together. Um, yeah, I just think again they're going to rely on their offense too much, and their offense is too inconsistent, and they got to get younger. They got to get younger and more speed. So I got them third, and again that's non-biases included. I do think they're the third best team in this division.
Question before we go further, because I think this connects to conversations that we've had in the past couple weeks when it comes um, to the Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert. Is do you think they make the playoffs this year?
It and now I asked myself that same question. I really did. I asked myself that same question only because again, I looked at like the AFC, like we talked about the AFC North and how all those teams, there's three teams in there, or not all, if not all of them, can somewhat be based on their how they play, can be playoff contenders.
Yep.
Then you got the AFC East. At least three teams should be coming out of there. It's just the AFC is going to be really, really tight. Like I think it's going to be like a tiebreaker situation for those bottom wild card spots. I really do. I could see them winning 9 to 7 games, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I don't.
See, that and that's where my criticism of Justin Herbert comes back is just because another season without the playoffs, like I just how
Leave
can we?
Herbert alone.
I
Oh my
understand, but like,
god.
how can we just keep giving him the pass of you're good, but you're not making the playoffs. If you do make the playoffs, it's gonna be a 1 round exit. Like we just keep giving these excuses, and I'm just saying it's running up soon. I'm not gonna harp on Justin Herbert, and this is the last thing I'll say. I'm not gonna get on him. I am really excited to see Justin Herbert with Quentin Richardson. We've been seeing some training camp highlights, whether that means something or nothing. I do think he will thrive with the Chargers' new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. Um, he runs like a West Coast type of system. That's
Really?
really
That's the new OC.
yes, Kellen Moore.
I didn't know that. He coming over from Dallas. Okay, cool.
and he tends to run a West Coast type of system that
Mm-hmm.
harps on run pass balance, which he wasn't able to do that with the Cowboys because they were a little bit more pass first centric. Uh, but now that Mike McCarthy isn't around him, look forward to this offense to be a little bit more balanced with Austin Eckler or whatnot. The only really good defensive addition they had was Eric Kendricks at linebacker. He didn't sign with the Vikings, and he's going to be like the play caller pretty much, or not the play caller, but like
Mm.
the quarterback for that
On the
defense.
defense. Yeah.
Which isn't like the most exciting thing to say. Like you know what I'm saying, you still got your Derwin James, you still like you said Bosa, Khalil Mack. You know it on paper. This team should make the playoffs if it's on
Mm-hmm.
paper.
Mm-hmm. I
But
agree.
to go back to what you said, the coaching just isn't gonna make it happen. I am excited, regardless of my criticism of Justin Herbert. I'm excited to see him uh, because these are crucial years in his career and what's going to happen. If he can take this team to the playoffs, um, over, I'm assuming the Broncos definitely not going to be better than Chiefs. But if the Broncos don't have the year they're expected to have, and the Chargers somehow pull it out, I'll definitely kind of go down a little bit. I'll be more in favor of Justin Herbert. And I'll be really, I want him to do well.
Mm.
Uh, but we can get to the reasons why I was on the same page as you and why I picked the Broncos over the Chargers. But yeah, go ahead.
And I'm gonna get there. Leah Leonard said Chargers overall have a better team in his opinion. Of course, Chiefs have Patrick, but overall Chargers offensively are better because of their weapons. Their weapons can't stay healthy, my guy. Look it up. He said Trey is biased. The Chargers will make it before the Broncos. Don't disrespect Justin. He's the second best quarterback in that division. Absolutely. Nobody's saying that. He absolutely he is the second best.
It's
I just
just
think the
coaching,
coaching is
man.
holding him back. Is holding him back.
It's just coaching.
Absolutely.
You know, if the coaching goes how it should, then you know you got a playoff team. But you're probably not because your head coach just ain't the. You know, on paper they have the weapons. The Chargers, defensive and offensively, have the better team.
I agree. I agree.
You know, but the
It's just
truth is, go ahead.
when it's like you said, when it's that playoff time, is a coach going to make this mistakes like how he did last year again? Up 27, up 27, up 27. And then some of that blame is on the QB for not stepping up and taking ownership of the situation. But again, he is a young
Say that
QB.
again. Say it again. A little
He
bit louder for
is
the people in the back.
some of that is on him, but he is a young QB, and they clearly don't have that relationship to the point of Andy Reid and Patrick, where he can say, "We need to do this. This is what needs to happen." He doesn't have that. It's just the head coach's team, and you do what I say. And I think that's where Herbert has to take that leadership role, and that's where he takes his next step. So hopefully we'll see that. And for I hope to see that for Herbert. I don't care about the Chargers winning or not; they kiss my ass.
And
But I hope for Herbert, he does what he needs to do.
and to speak a little bit more based on what Leonard is saying, I will add the aspect of having Kellen Moore as a offensive coordinator, since it should be a little bit more balanced as an offense. They shouldn't blow as many leads if that run game for the Chargers is a lot better and a little bit more consistent with Eckler, and take a little bit more time off the board allows that team not to blow so many leads. In theory, not sure if that'll happen. But moving on to the third uh, best team in that.
The third. Oh, your numbers are wrong.
Sorry.
The second best team.
Yeah, you
The
know.
second best team in this division. Of course, it kills me to say this, but I'm not being biased here. Obviously, it's the Denver Broncos. And this is what people don't understand about the Denver Broncos, as everybody sees. I am a huge Denver Broncos fan. I bleed this orange and blue shit. Um,
Mm.
Last year, they had 8 games within one score that they lost.
Yep.
And all of those was because of coaching. Look it up. Those games were way more than winnable. They beat teams like San Francisco. Yes, it was before McCaffrey got there, but they beat San Francisco. They beat decent. They was going head to head with the Chiefs away. They was going neck and neck and lost it in the clutch off of freaking the coaching. It's the coaching that lost them those 8 games. That's going to change. They had a top 5 defense. Their offense is going to went from literally the worst, and their defense kept them in games the whole entire season. That's still not going to change. Now they have a better offense, and I can't minimize that enough. Or I can't maximize that enough for people to sit there and say the coaching is a big difference in winning games. Also, that is a big difference in the playoffs. So I just think people need to take that in consideration and really analyze the team. You can sit there and say Russell Wilson is not the same and blah blah blah. Okay, he knows that he's not the it guy. He wanted the whole team organization handed to him. Clearly, we know he's not that person, but we also know again he needs a decent coach to lead to be the captain of that ship. He has that now. All you have to do is sit there, run the ball, be a clock manager like you do, and make your little running play, throwing off the run plays, and we're good to go. So I have them second. I do not think they're better than the Chiefs, of course, because of Patty and because of that chemistry that they just have on that team. But I do think their defense is what keeps them in games, and it's always been a top 5 defense. And again, we all know defense is what get that wins games in the playoffs. It's not necessarily the scoring; it's the defense. Especially in the AFC when you're playing against Patty Mahomes, you're not going to outscore him. So what do you have to do? You have to get some freaking stops, and that's where I think again teams that like Denver, like Jacksonville, also they can get those stops sometimes when they need to, and it's just a matter of their offense it was just shitty. So I do think Russell's going to have a bounce back year. Plain and simple, I got them number 2.
Question: Are there any additions or moves that the Broncos made besides the head coaching change from Hackett to Sean Payton that you really liked? And second question is, are you guys a playoff team? I'll keep asking.
The another offensive move they made, they got well, obviously they got rid of their offensive coordinator. I didn't like the whole Joe Lombardi freaking pickup because again he coming from the Chargers and how that looked. But again, I'm not worried about him only because it's Sean Payton. Sean Payton is still going to be Sean Payton offense, and he knows what he's doing with Russell. So I do trust him. As well as another addition is we got more speed. Getting Marvin Mims from Oklahoma, I do think was a great pickup. We needed speed because KJ Hamler is injured prone as hell, and they needed another speed demon to play that Tyler Lockett slash role that Russell Wilson needs. Um, so I do think those 2 pickups would be enough, as well as just Sean Payton and thinking of his offensive, having Brandon Cooks. Um, who else did he have in the slot in New Orleans? He always had like a speed demon kind of wide receiver in his offense.
Kenny Stills was there for a good little bit.
See, it's always a speed demon that is utilized. So I do think he'll be able to utilize him a lot more. Um, so yeah, I think those 2 pickups will be substantial in the sense of it fits Sean Payton and what he wants to do. Do I think we're a playoff team? Again, yes. And I say that because our schedule is not hard at all. On top of the fact, again, if you take away those losses that we should have won last year, we would have made the playoffs. And you can sit there and say, oh, what if? But really look at those games. 1-score games. We're not talking about blowouts. We're not talking about freaking just completely out of the game the moment it starts. We're talking about 3 to 7 points. These people lost by 8 times. You do the math on that. How many times we still end up winning 5 games last year? I'm not saying we would have went 12 and freaking 4, no, but we definitely should have at least won. Out of that 8, we should have won 6. We lost to freaking the Colts by that one game in the end zone. We lost to the Raiders off in overtime. That shouldn't have happened. It was just dumb little miscues that happen. So out of those 8, I say 6, which again, 11 wins get you in the playoffs. So yes.
I'm really fascinated with this team because of they're due for a bounce back. This is when it comes to the Denver Broncos. This is the year of the redemption. Okay, you have a lot of people that need to make a redemption. You have Sean Payton, who is making his comeback to coaching, and a lot of people are saying, "What type of coach is he without Drew Brees?" Well, you're about to see. Okay, you have Russell Wilson, who it needs a redemption. He had a bad year last year. Obviously, he had a different coach, and his first year away from Seattle. And a lot of people are like, "What are you as a quarterback without being in Seattle?" And so far, it doesn't look so good. So he's due. He's needed for a redemption. You have who else needs a redemption? Javonte Williams. He needs a redemption from getting hurt last year and really showing what type of running back he can be for a full year and really have that redemption year for himself. What? Why are you laughing?
I'm reading these comments and it's just this guy Leonard he's all over the place. But
Go ahead. So what did Leonard say? I'll finish after the fact.
Oh, pray to God. Where do I start? The Broncos lost twice last year to the Raiders. He put in all caps. They have to prove they can win their own damn division before they can be the second best in the AFC West. That doesn't even make sense. Broncos did have a lot of close games last year, but so did other teams. Doesn't matter the score. It matters about the win. Again, coaching. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. They should have won those games, but point blank, they didn't. Just like the Eagles should have won a Super Bowl, right? But yeah, I get that. I get that.
I'm not done. Okay. Yeah, I fought with Leonard. I'm on the same page as Leonard. It's hard to do how many wins would you have had based on the score. I do think that's. I understand where you're coming from mathematically, but it doesn't work that way. But I would be a fool to say getting Sean Payton isn't going to make a difference. That I think that's a logic that a fool would only dismiss. And when we're talking about redemption, I've said Russell Wilson, Javonte Williams is due for redemption. Sean Payton, Jerry Judy's needed for a redemption year. Obviously, just a rough year for the Broncos all around. And the hype that he had coming out of when he was drafted, and then his first year or two he didn't have a good quarterback. This is your redemption to show what type of receiver you can be and really put your name up top with some of the bigger names. You got Frank Clark for 1 year. You got Kareem Jackson, who's I think safety, cornerback. He bounces between both, but I think he's a safety now. He's a great tackler who's willing to get down and dirty and bring some physicality to that team. Frank Clark, I mean, all these guys are just. This is Frank Clark's year to really push to get paid, so he's going to be out there trying to rip some sacks. You have a bolstered offensive line that Sean Payton really focused on in the draft. There's no reason, unless for injuries, that the Broncos don't have a better year than what they had last year. And I think that, not only did you have a bad coach last year, you dealt with injuries on that standpoint. Tim Patrick being hurt already, it's not a good sign if things continue. Like, more people get hurt, pretty much. Which, I mean, he's always been hurt, but still. It's just, I'm hoping this team is good. And I think if all these guys have redemption, there's no reason why you guys won't make the playoffs and be the second best team in this division. So, yeah, big redemption year for the Broncos.
Wait, so where did you have them at in your ranking?
Same as you, 3.
I had them second, but okay.
I mean, the third worst, whatever. I know it's backwards ass logic, but you get what I'm saying. No, I was with you.
I think you trying to play mind games with me so I can say they're the number 3 and they're number 2. But I get what you're saying.
Okay, what happens with this team though if they don't have a better year? Like, well, let's just say they end up with the same amount of wins. Just
they get rid of Russell. They're going to get rid of Russell. He's on a 1-year deal. Sean Payton already said it. Like, you're pretty much like, you got one chance to prove to me that you can run my offense, because he ain't going nowhere. So it's either you're going to run it my way or you out the door. and they're going to just take that salary dump and all that. They're going to eat it up. They don't got a choice. They gave it to him, and then they'll go get another quarterback that they desire out of the draft or through free agency or trade for. But I feel like again, I trust Sean Payton. I do trust Sean Payton. I'm not on the edge of my seat ready to fucking pull the remains of my hair out that I ain't got with Nathaniel Hackett running the show. I'm good, and I support everything he said about Nathaniel Hackett before too. I no, I support you, Sean Payton. You have my support. Moving on. Number one, the fucking Chiefs. Um, I can't stand them. I hate their fucking guts. Patty Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, and as long as he's there, and Travis Kelsey is there, and Andy Reid is there, they're going to
Hey,
win.
stop the nonsense, man. Just give analysis. All right, not the bias bullshit. You do it a
That
lot.
is not biased. As long as them three is there, they're going to win 11 games no matter what. Now, they could put a bum at running back. They can have no line, which they got one of the best lines in the league. They're a good team offensively. Defensively, they're again, I'm not a big fan of them defensively. They only got one person in Chris Jones. Defensively, they're not like, oh my God, eye popping. But again, they have Patty Mahomes. So as long as he's on that team, they're going to be at least a 10-win team every year.
That it. That's where you at.
That's all you're getting out of me.
Just compliment the damn team. Uh, I mean, we'd be fools on this podcast to say that Kansas City isn't the best team in this division. Okay, let's be honest. All right, you got the best quarterback, the one of the probably the best quarterback we'll ever see in our lifetime, and you got one of the best head coaches of all time. You got one of the best tight ends of all time. I mean, it's you got a lot going for you. But I think the most underrated thing about this team is that wide receiving core, and I think a lot of people just they fucking suck, and all the old names are out of there like Hardman. Obviously, they traded Tyreek a couple years ago. Um, what's the random Pringle? Fucking Byron Pringle is fucking out of there. Um, all the usual names that you would hear maybe once every 6 weeks for catching a damn Patrick Mahomes touchdown. But you have Scott Moore, Kadarius Toney, and you got Justin Ross. And I think I know Justin Ross isn't a big name, but he was a very talented player in college. And I think all of these guys have a chance to be just amazing and be probably one of the best wide receiver cores that we've seen in Kansas City. And I think a lot of people aren't talking about them because they aren't big names. But they are skilled and they are fast and they've got good hands. And they're exactly what Kansas City wants. I would say Byron Pringle isn't exactly what, they wanted, but that's what they had at the time. You know, what's another random ass? McCole Hardman never lived up to the hype. He was fast, but that was it. Who else? What's another random ass Kansas City wide receiver they had? Any names you can think of?
Wide receiver wise. No, because they all come and go. It's like a rotation. It's just like, oh look, you can do better now. You got a ring.
Yeah,
Bye. On to the next. Go get
yeah,
paid now because you ain't getting paid here. Because
yeah.
you could put the fucking local Walmart store manager on a team at wide receiver, and he's gonna make Patty. He's gonna make him look good. So I don't give a fuck about their receiving core. They could have
You
bums there, and they
should.
all look good.
But
No, it's
the
all
difference,
Patty.
the difference between this receiving core and past receiving core is you can pass it to these guys and they actually make a move after the fucking catch. This isn't just bombs away type shit, which they're gonna catch plenty of bombs, but yeah, it's just different levels. I think this receiving core is really good. You got the holdout situation that's going on between them. The defense is a little sketchy right now because you got the holdout situation with Chris Jones. He got 15 and a half sacks last year. Frank Clark left you guys, or you guys just chose not to pay him, whatever it is. And the guy you try to replace him in with Charles Aminu, however you say his name, I'm not sure. He got suspended for 6 or 8 games for domestic violence. So you got a lot of questions. I mean, the secondary is pretty solid with you guys, just because systematically Andy Reid's going to have you guys have a decent hold up defense. Um, you got the legends, so I mean, you got to let the legends play the hits. You know what I mean, and just fucking let it rip. Unless something
let it rip.
crazy happens with you guys gonna win the division and probably be there for the Super Bowl. So, you know what I'm saying?
This guy Leonard is still stuck on the Chargers and their offense.
Go ahead. What do you say?
He
Come on,
said,
give him
I
some
don't
time.
know, with the offensive shakeup with the Chargers, we may have a new king in the jungle in the AFC West. Like I said, the Chargers have the overall best offensive team in the division, injuries aside, of course. Oh, yes, you said that last. Like, that's not the kind of the most important thing. Let alone, again, we don't know how it's going to turn out with their offense because their coach is a fucking idiot. So,
I mean,
again,
look, if you really want to play it safe, they're good on Madden. You know what I'm saying? They're great. They're good.
absolutely.
They're a good team on Madden.
Absolutely. They honestly, that was my Madden team last year. I'm not gonna hold you. I played with the Chargers. When I
That's why
couldn't
you
play with
like to
us,
start with some.
we sucked ass. But yeah, that was my Madden team. But again, real life, can't put two and two together to get four. They get 3.5.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
I'll still stand on the Chargers are cursed. It's just the injury situation that pop up every year, and you're running back the Phillip Rivers quarterback
you're
situation
not
again.
doing this again. You're not doing this. You're not calling Phillip Rivers. You're not calling Herbert back up another Phillip Rivers. We're not doing that. We're
With
not
that
doing
being
that.
said, make sure you guys watch us on YouTube, the full length content, and Spotify. We have both the full length podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Check them out if you want to hear this delightful conversation over and over and over again. Trey, you got anything for the fans? You got any last message for Leonard?
Uh, Leonard, I hope you come back. I believe you're in the AFC East. So, I mean, NFC East. So that is our last division for next
Yep.
week. But yeah, anybody else, please invite anybody to please support and watch our podcast. We appreciate it. And like I said, continue to engage with us and interact with us on all social media platforms, and we will continue to do the same and give you feedback or comment back, rather. Excuse me.
And if you have any recommendations as far as segments or anything you would like to see for the podcast, we are willing to give anything a try. Let us know if I think we got some good feedback on the either or quarterback edition. We might switch that to some other positions for some good matchups and go from there. With that being said, guys, it has been a pleasure uh, to entertain you guys. And this is the end of episode 12 of the Nuff Said podcast. So, peace out, guys. Thank you. Peace out.